always going to be on the top. For anybody that's going to be in Dallas County or south, that's always going to be on the side. They are trying to make that changeover, but they haven't quite yet.
Okay, so I'm pulling up a T-wrench right now on the computer so we can show everybody. And when you're looking at these, are there any, like this one here is pretty big, right?
Yeah.
So this T-wrench is going to pretty much get the job done?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, they call it a curb box key, a T-wrench. Yeah, there you go. You just want to make sure that you get one that has a little durability, because if your meter hasn't been shut off in a while, say the people before you had been there for 30 years, a cheap T-wrench could break off before you turn the meter. So,
okay. All right. So get one that's nice and heavy and sturdy.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. So that's a great
It's probably like a $20 item. It's like that right there. $13.
All right. Perfect. So you're a big fan of this one here. Let's take a look here.
Yeah, about $13 to $20 works really well.
All right.
Most plumbing supply houses, you can walk in there and you can buy them yourself.
Okay.
So
totally good. I don't need to have a license to buy one.
No.
All right. Not a problem. So that totally will help us out. And then we also start talking about other things. And just because you are a plumber, the first thing that people think of is water.
Correct.
However, very important, Jeremie's also responsible for
gas. All plumbers will take care of the gas from the meter to your house. A couple of things you need to understand. If your meter is out by your back alley, you have a line underneath the ground that comes up to where the line actually enters into your house. You're responsible for that. If somebody digs right there, if you put a fence post there, you make any kind of changes, that gas line is there. You're responsible from that meter all the way to the house.
Mm-hmm.
The second way that a meter can be put in is right next to the house, whereas the supplying agency is going to take care of everything all the way up to the meter.
Mm-hmm.
But once it goes from the meter directly into the house, you're responsible from there on. Those are the two ways that you'll see a gas meter. Understand that they're green, they're painted green for gas, and you need to have a crescent wrench or something a little longer in case you ever have a fire, in case you smell gas. It's better for you to turn the gas off or call a plumber first. We were going over this a second ago of why we should call a plumber versus calling Atmos or CoServe or whoever our gas provider is. And the important part of that is, a lot of times if you have a gas leak, if you call a plumber first, you're going to save yourself about 3 days, because once Atmos turns it off, they have to have a inspection by the city, and the city will have to okay the gas test once the repair is made.
Mm-hmm.
And then come back. The good thing about the gas test that the city makes you do is you have to test the whole system. So if you have an outside leak and you know it's just right there, you can call a plumber. A plumber can come in and take care of that particular part. However, a good plumber is going to test the whole system anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But if you shut it off by the gas company, now you have to test the whole system. And just because you have a leak here doesn't mean that you won't have leaks on down the line or somewhere else, because everything has to be taken care of and that meter has to hold.
Yeah. So we're looking here, and what I kind of see is this is the part you were talking about,
correct,
right? And the gas meter, when this runs parallel to the gas line itself, that means that it is on.
Correct.
When it runs perpendicular and you shut it off, then it is closed.
It is closed.
Right? And it has to be fully closed.
Correct.
And this one here in particular looks like it's got some stuff on it. So does that maybe they lock it up or tag it, something like that?
If the meter is missing, they will shut that down. They'll lock it out. They'll put a pin lock in that. They can do the same thing in your water meter box. So either way, those can be locked up. But that's a good indication of when those two things line up that it is off.
Okay. And then we're also talking about the gas if you smell gas. So talk about that, because natural gas on its own, does it have a smell, or is that injected and put inside there so we can recognize it?
Great point. You already know the answer to that. The fact is, gas is odorless, and because they are pumping it into residential houses, they pump an odor into it. That's why if you ever smell a gas leak, it smells like eggs. Mm-hmm. It's a sulfuric kind of smell. And once you smell that, you know that you have some kind of gas issue going on. And it's very important that once you smell gas or you think you smell gas, it's time to start asking questions, and don't wait around on it, because that can turn into a bigger problem fast. Case in point, we've had a customer who had gas range, and underneath the gas range, they had a small gas leak. Well, so as they were lighting their gas range, it didn't just continue to fire, but it flashed. And when it flashes like that, it caught the paper on the back on fire, and therefore the whole cabinet system went up. And redoing all that and going through restoration and putting all that back can be quite extensive. So, preventative measure: if you smell it, call your plumber. If your plumber can't get there, and of course you need to call Atmos or CoServe or whoever your provider is, do that as well. They will come out for free. Just understand that it's going to change your time period and being able to get back up. And in the wintertime without gas, those of us don't want to do that.
And so a lot of people would probably have had that same exact experience. Hopefully you never had it in your house in that way with that type of flare up there. But if you've ever worked on a gas grill and you thought it was lit and it wasn't lit, so I've lost eyelashes and all types of things based on that same experience. And you tend to do it once. After that, you have that experience, you're like, whoa, wait just a minute.
Right.
And we'll slow down and do a little bit better job on that. So let's show us the crescent wrench.
Yeah, before we get there, the biggest key whenever you're doing, if you have your outside grill hooked up to your gas like you do, and it flares up, your shutoff is normally right next to it. That's where I wanted to show you the meter and show you that, hey, once that billows up and gets out of the way, let's not singe all our hair and you end up like me.
I know. Is that what happens?
No. But you can run out there, you can shut it off at the meter, and that will dissipate and it will kill all the source of the fire.
Okay.
So, and this is a crescent wrench. This is what I use to just turn those off. You may need one a little bit longer because gas meters can be a little stiff. So the longer that you have, the more torque you can put on there and turn it off.
But you're strong.
They say that.
All right. I like that. All right. So Jeromie is a master plumber. Tell me about what that word means.
So when it comes to plumbing, you go through a series of classes and tests that you have to take. You start out as an apprentice. You do X amount of hours. You go and you become a journeyman, and you take a journeyman test, which allows you to work on all of these things by yourself. But you can't procure work. You have to be a master plumber to procure work. Well, Texas has also changed that to where you have to be a responsible master to procure work. So not only do I have all of the plumbing certifications, I also have the business certifications to own the company to procure work. You shouldn't just have your handyman come out and do plumbing. He's not licensed to do it.
No, that's a big deal. So that's how long does it take from start to finish if I just totally dedicated to the craft?
I did all of mine. I graduated from SMU in 01, and I waited a little while before I really got into doing it. But from the time I started until the time I finished, it took about 4 or 5 years.
Wow. All right. No, so that's a real thing. It's a really good trade. And there's quite a few things that go on. I mean, we live in a newer house. It's not obviously brand new, but there's an amazing amount of plumbing related things that do come up that you've helped us with around here that we're obviously thankful for, but that just come up and you're like, holy cow, that's crazy. And you are 100% correct. The thumb does not work when you're trying to cover up the water.
Right.
And the water just adds up really fast. And as soon as it starts coming, then it does become a real problem.
Well, and to get out of the plumbing part, and because I deal so much with restoration people and remodelers and things like that, it only takes 3 days to create mold. Now, if that water, there's 3 categories of water. 1, 2, and 3. And category 1 is going to be clean water. It's coming out of your faucet, it overflows, it's clean water. You can usually just clean that up, dry that up, and you're okay. But if it's wastewater, if it's coming from a drain, from a sink, could be category 2. But if you have a toilet overflow, that's category 3 water. That all has to be pulled out. It has to be cut open and pulled out, and legitimately supposed to be done that way because of all the bacteria and things like that, because the mold can grow so much faster. Our restoration people just did a mock-up in their office. They submerged sheetrock and paneling and 3 days later had mold. In 5 days, when they opened it up, we couldn't breathe it. It was awful.
Wow. All right.
So if you let it sit, it's going to be a problem.
Okay. Very good. Well, thank you very much for joining us today, Jeremy. If anyone needs Jeremy, he is in our client resource book. You can get in touch with him there. We do have his phone number on speed dial. He's probably one of those good guys to have on speed dial, because when water is flowing in the wrong direction, that you definitely want to make sure that you have somebody that you can call that's going to respond and take care of it. So any advice when they call you? Just text you, just wait, or what?
No, you can call me, you can text me. If you text me, you text me your name and address. It's usually easier. I just keep up with it a little easier that way, but I'll get back to you right away.
Yeah.
Listen, I have walked out of movies and I have walked out of games to answer questions, because if anything else, I want to help you triage it, because the more you know, the better homeowner you're going to be.
So this has started as a family business, right? You have a couple other family members that are at least ancillarily related.
Correct. I actually worked for my uncle and ran his plumbing company for 15 years before I went out on my own, and different direction, and have been doing this on my own for another 2 years now. So
yeah, no, we really value that. I mean, us being a family-owned business, it's really good. So
yeah.
So that helps. And
well,
we appreciate that.
Going out on his own is because of this guy. He's like,
Oh.
it's time for you. It's time for you to get something done on your own, and it's good to have good people around you that
yeah,
push you and say, hey, look, you put out a quality item, you put out a quality service, and you've been doing it for somebody else. It's time for you to make it on your own. And
no, it's a big
so
deal. Sometimes you have to push people just a little bit and
Absolutely.
look and see what's best for them.
Because we become content. I mean, we all do, right? We all become content in what we're doing, and we're making money and we're happy, but you've got to challenge yourself every day. You've got to become well-rounded in what you do.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much, Jeremy. We do appreciate it. And give Jeremy a call if you need anything. Thank you very much, guys. All right. So we're done recording there.